State Street in Hampshire, that's Newman's Corner Pub, your new favorite spot.
Marky's got the insights, Susie's got the attitude, and you get the best seat in the house. Mornings just got a whole lot more interesting. This is the WRMN Morning Show, only on WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com.
Guess what day it is? It is Tom Skilling Day at WRMN AM 1410, and Mr. Skilling himself is on the phone with us right now, and I'm losing my mind. There he is.
Hello, guys.
I'm losing my mind.
You know what? I feel like I'm coming home, being a Fox Valley boy, and from Aurora. So, guys, it's so good to talk to you. And Mayor Mike and I met down in Champaign. Former Governor Edgar does a meeting every year at the University of Illinois, his alma mater. He calls it's Edgar's Fellows Group, and Mike is an Edgar's Fellow. Edgar's Fellows are legislators involved in various levels of governance all through the state of Illinois. We have mayors there, alder people, state legislators. And they go down there and gather every August for a week of lectures. And I was asked to give a talk on climate change, and Mike was there, so we had a chance to meet, and we had a great time. So I thank you for inviting me. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you, guys.
The honor is all ours having you here on WRMN. You got to be kidding me.
Oh, you guys are great. I'm telling you, when I was in high school at West Aurora High School, we did speech competitions all over the place, high schools all over the region. So I was up in the Elgin area, and of course, growing up in the Fox Valley, I was through Elgin all the time, and I had many viewers that were in Elgin. There, look at that.
Look at you guys, two handsome gentlemen.
You know, if you blank out the face on the right side there's some handsome there's some handsome on that photo.
The one on the left.
No, Mike. I'll tell you, Mike has a son, I guess, who's quite interested in meeting.
Oh man,
Mikey. Yep, he is. He's the next Tom Skilling.
He thought you were coming in the studio this morning, and he either one was going to hide in my bag to sneak in, or two, he wanted me to bring in the bobblehead so that he's got a view on his dresser so you could sign it.
Oh, I'll tell you, I would love to do that. I'm sorry I'm not there in person with you guys, but
anytime you want. Anytime. I've got room next to me. If I have to push these guys out of the way, I will make room for you.
We knew that was coming.
You know what, Susie? I got to tell you, my sister's name is Susie. So I'll tell you, I have great affection there for
thank you.
Anybody who's named Susie.
Well, I'm just going to tell everybody you have great affection for me. We don't care about your sister. Just Tom Skilling has great affection for me.
We've had a chance to visit here before going on the air, and you seem very, very sweet. So I'll tell you, thank you for having me, guys, and happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Thank you for being here. And I know we're going to shift gears and talk about the NOAA and everything coming up with legislation. So you are the master at that. So would you like to explain to us what's going on? Because it seems like it's going to be pretty impactful.
It really is. They're going after the funding and the personnel, whom the man and woman, the National Weather Service, they staff the National Weather Service. You know, the National Weather Service has great connections with the Midwest. For 155 years, the National Weather Service, formerly the Weather Bureau, and before that, the U.S. Army Signal Corps, has observed and forecast the weather. And I'll tell you how it came into being. There was a professor up the lake in Milwaukee by the name of Increase Lapham. He was a scientist up there, and he was very worried about shipwrecks on the Great Lakes and all the mariners who were going to their deaths at the bottom of the lake in these unpredicted storms. And he, as early as the 1850s, said, I think we ought to try to forecast these things. They had just developed a telegraph, and so there was a means for sending weather observations in real time quickly. But the Civil War intervened, and that broke off any chance for advancing a weather service. But after it ended, he wrote Congress, Increase Lapham wrote Congress and said, isn't it the job of the federal government to offer our mariners some warning about storms. And in 1870, President Ulysses S. Grant signed into law the bill that started the Army Signal Corps taking weather observations. And from that came our United States Weather Bureau, later in 1970 renamed the National Weather Service. And that's how we've come by a National Weather Service. Well, here's what's going on now. The current administration is proposed dramatically cutting the funding for the Weather Service. And the claim is that it's a bloated federal agency and so forth. It isn't. It's lean, it's mean. There are 4,200 National Weather Service employees across the entire country that provide the weather information for 330 million of us. They produce, they pick up 6.3 weather observations a day they process. They produce 1.5 million weather forecasts a year and 50,000 weather warnings across the country for everything from tornadoes to floods. I mean, when the Fox River goes out of its banks, the way we find out what the crest level will be of that river or any other river in our area, the Rock, the Kankakee, the Kishwaukee, any river in our area, the Weather Service, among its many functions, forecast crest levels. But they also issue our tornado watches, our snowstorm watches, heat wave advisories. Their staff is out across the area training weather spotters all through the spring and the summer. And that's in addition to issuing weather forecasts 24/7, 365 days a year. I mean, it's a bargain. The American taxpayer pays the equivalent of one Big Mac a year for the weather service that we get in this country.
Wow.
And among the things the Weather Service, it operates the satellite system, 160 Doppler radars, all of the weather observational gear in the country. It communicates with other international weather agencies in the world, which we've got to do because we didn't know their weather in order to forecast our own. They're amazing. They forecast tsunamis. They look at the sun when these coronal mass ejections send charged particles toward the sun and toward the earth that start the northern lights going. They create what are called geomagnetic storms in our upper atmosphere that can interfere with satellites and radios, and it's the Weather Service that warns about those.
So, Tom, how many employees work for the National Weather Service?
4,200, Mayor. 4,200.
So, now you spoke about people saying it's a bloated agency and that, but so you're saying that 4,200 employees total throughout the whole country, and it handles everything from weather balloons, have everything from the buoys out in the lake and the rivers, and early warning managements and that kind of thing. Yes,
indeed. And in fact, Congress has approved funds for a staff of 4,800. And they're operating at 4,200. Victor Gensini, who's a professor, Dr. Victor Gensini of Northern Illinois University, an amazing young tornado researcher who's done groundbreaking work on severe weather, and he is a professor there. They're going to begin a hail program sponsored by the National Science Foundation. Hail causes billions of dollars in damage, and yet we don't do a real good job of forecasting it. We're going to try and improve that. That'll start. But anyway, he did a survey of the current employment status, and 60 of the 120 offices are understaffed right now by 20% or more. And yet they continue operating. This is a very dedicated staff, these Weather Service folks. I mean, a lot of them come to work when a snowstorm's coming in, bring clothes and food, and all knowing that they may get trapped in the office and therefore have to work through these terrible weather situations.
What do these cuts do to aspiring meteorologists, let's say, people that are in school now or trying to change careers? What are these cuts? What kind of impacts is that going to have to the meteorological careers of people trying to come into the business?
Mike, the first ones they're laying off are the young people. These are the future meteorologists, and they're the ones oftentimes they give them 15 minutes warning and tell them, you're out of here. You haven't done your job, and so we're cutting you loose. They have done their job. These people work incredibly hard. This is not accurate. But at any rate, it's the young people that are getting axed. And, it's interesting you ask that, Mike, because I was out at Northern Illinois University with our crew. We wanted to interview Professor Gensini. And I spoke in front of his meteorology class, and I looked out on all these young faces. You know, I'm a 73-year-old, so anybody under 73 looks young to me. I mean, I look at the screen with you guys on it, and I think youth. You know,
Yeah,
so,
if you take half the screen.
Wait, I'm older than
Thanks,
all
Tom.
of you.
You're the best, man.
I'm older than all of you.
Yeah, okay.
seriously, I tell you, you know, but I looked out on this classroom. These are all young people. And do you know, when I first got word of these cuts, I put something up on social media on my Facebook page, and I thought, I wonder what the reaction to this is going to be. Because some people write and say, look, when the government's bloated and all, we got to start somewhere, and nobody likes cuts and all. The fact is, nobody wants a bloated government, and if there are agencies bloated, go after them. But the Weather Service and NOAA is not one of them. And I can tell you that as somebody who's worked in this field for half a century.
And it presents a huge, what type of risk, let's say, or what are the potential impacts to, we try to tie all this back to like the average everyday person, right? And
Yes.
so not assuming that anybody's uninformed or not assuming any of that, but
Right.
you know, I mean, you pull your phone out of your pocket as an example, and you say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can get the weather on my phone," or you turn your you turn on any news outlet and you can see their meteorologist, right? Or turn on the radio and you can hear the weather. So to the average everyday person, it seems like, okay, well, they're just cutting the government waste, right? Quote unquote, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Okay, but how does that relate to the conversation of you pull your phone out of your pocket and that kind of thing?
That is such a great question. First of all, when you pull your phone out of the pocket, you see a radar image or a satellite picture on it. By the way, that's Penny, my dog.
Penny.
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 Little Penny. She's 16 years old and has the body of a 6-year-old, the vet tells us. And she's adorable. But anyway, here's what's threatened. Our warnings. Right now, there's so little staff, they've ceased launching weather balloons in Green Bay, Aberdeen, South Dakota, Omaha, Nebraska, Rapid City, Bismarck, North Dakota, places in Maine and Alaska. And you may say, for God's sake, what difference does satellites and Doppler radar? Well, the fact is, these weather balloons give us information and a complete read on the atmosphere that's absolutely essential to go into our computer models to accurately forecast. So we're not quite sure what the effect is going to be on the accuracy of our models, but you know, there may be some real issues there. And then the warning, you know, when a thunderstorm comes through and the lightning's flashing at 11 o'clock at night, and there's a tornado dancing through your neighborhood or nearby, you want somebody glued to that Doppler radar, which is an amazing piece of technology, telling us where that tornado is and where it's going. That takes staff.
Right.
Then when the storms hit, they send crews out to see what the damage has been. This is critical in insurance coverage and all. Imagine there's a hurricane season about ready to get underway on the coast. Imagine the eastern and southern United States with, among the people that cut are computer modelers, people who are launching our weather balloons, people who run with the hurricane hunters, some of the technicians that repair our Doppler radars. You know, this Doppler radar that you see on your phone and that we see on television.
So, hey, Tom, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it seems like we lost your camera.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Now, let me turn this. I wonder why
The cuts are affecting it already. Look at this.
I think it fell over.
All of a sudden, we lost you. We could still hear you just fine, but
Can you hear me now?
we can hear you.
We've heard you all the way
We can
through.
hear you all the way through. We just lost your
don't know.
video.
No, I think your camera
that's
fell over.
great.
What we'll do is we'll take a break if that's okay.
I'll log back in again, guys, and we'll see if that fixes
Well,
it.
stay where you are. We'll fix it over the break. You're listening to the WRMN Morning Show. We will be right back with our fantastic guest, who...
Mr. Tom Skilling.
That's it. Mr. Skilling, the best.
Right back after this, 3 minutes. Hey, Tammy, I just made an AI fact
Guys,
check.
what if I log off and log back on again? Let's do it.
Talk Time with Tammy and Friends is the best show on WRMN.
No, it's right here, and I'm moving it, and there's no movement. So I don't know.
What a bold,
I don't know what
opinion
that mess,
masquerading as a
what the
fact.
camera
Sure,
is
I bet
doing
you
here.
and all 12 of her fans feel
Yeah.
that way. While I can confirm the show exists, yay for reality,
I see audio
its
and
best
video.
status is completely debatable.
All right, now I turn it
And yes,
off and then I turn it
congratulations,
back
does
on,
air
and I'm
Monday
still
through
getting,
Friday, 2 p.m. to 4
I'm still
p.m.
getting that crazy
Let me know
picture.
when Tammy wins an Emmy or something. Until then, this is a hard nope on objectivity. Grade
Pointed,
310.
yes, I
Fact,
hit
Talk
that.
Time with Tammy and Friends airs weekdays, Monday,
Oh,
Thursday,
all
2
right.
p.m.
Watch
to
it.
4 p.m. on WRMN.
There it is.
Try
Is that
again
it?
when you want to talk about facts.
I wonder why that happened. That's interesting.
I'll work on
Huh. All right, guys. Is that okay, the shot
In
there?
a while, Bender Dental Care in Elgin
Oh.
has a new patient welcome offer. Complete exam,
Good.
cleaning, consultation, and x-ray
Great.
for only $29. Okay, that bears repeating. A complete exam, regular cleaning, consultation, and
I know.
x-rays for only $29. Bender Dental Care has a verified 5-star Google rating. It doesn't get any better than that. Family dentistry at its best. Bender Dental Care in Elgin.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes, rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown. Never let kids' toys take over the house. And never fill your feed with kid photos. You'd never plan your life around their schedule. Never lick your thumb to clean their face. And you'd never let them leave the house looking like less than their best. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it. Never let them stay up too late. And never let them run wild through the grocery store.
Cleanup on aisle 6 and aisle 3.
So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Good morning and welcome back, Fox River Valley. You are listening to and watching WRMN AM 1410 on the stick and on the YouTube and on the line. We have the master, the GOAT himself, Mr. Tom Skilling, and my day is made. Welcome back, Mr. Skilling. Oh, thank you. Did everybody hear that?
Yep.
Did you all hear that? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I don't know if your head can get any bigger this morning, Sue.
I know my headphones are getting tight.
Thanks a lot. Now we have to deal with this the rest of the day. Yeah, appreciate it. Glad having you on.
I know we have lots of questions for you.
Sure.
Yeah, Mr. Skilling, this is a lot of research based, right? I mean, it's our job as broadcasters to get everything out into the world, but these are people who are researchers, scientists. Are there going to be any long-term research and studies that are going to be affected, even with just this little bit of a shave now? They haven't said anything about not going any further, but just it coming down now, are there any long-term studies that are going to be affected by just this pause here?
Absolutely. And in fact, we're really worried about that. One of the things that's made our country so amazing is our scientific work. Right now at Argonne National Laboratories, they've got a full laboratory effort underway to help decarbonize the transportation sector, come up with cleaner fuels, better batteries, faster charging batteries, nuclear power that can be generated more cleanly and with less waste. Fuels that our aircraft use that don't put out the carbon dioxide they did, or that our ships use. There's all kinds of work. Do you know at Argonne Labs, they've got a program underway right now where they can literally take an electric car and run it through its life cycle, and then break it down. They can grind up its exterior, its battery, all the components that make it, and recycle everything, and create a whole new, a whole new vehicle.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, this is the type of scientific work we can't lose.
Right.
And another thing I think a lot of us are witnessing, Chicago weather. Our winters have been absolutely nothing compared to what I grew up in. And now you're reducing by 4,200 employees, if I'm understanding that correctly. You need these folks on hand to help with the research to maybe try to find out what is happening with this change. Am I right?
Yeah. The guys at the Weather Service, guys and gals, they do all kinds of research and all. They keep our climate record going, which is critical as we try to assess where we are and how our winters are changing. And by the way, our winters have changed dramatically, as any of us knows.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that we have been warming pretty steadily, but there was a period from the late 40s through the 70s and into the early 80s where the Northern Hemisphere cooled. And you know what they concluded happened? We had greenhouse gas building up all that time. But World War II took a lot of industry offline, and when it ended, all these industrial plants fired up again. And of course, Europe started rebuilding, and so did Asia. And all this pollution started going back in the air, in particular oxides of sulfur, which tend to block the sunlight coming in. And for about 30 years, we went into a cooling cycle from the late 40s through the 70s. And we know that here because our winters in the 70s were barbaric around here. Mm-hmm. If you look, our Chicago area weather record goes back to the Chicago Fire, 1871. That fire destroyed what weather records had been kept up to that point. So that's why our weather record starts at 1871 here. And if you look at Decatur.
Oh, we lost your audio again, sir.
Yep, we lost your audio.
Oh, I think we're going to have you call in, or we'll call you. I'm guessing. Tom, we lost.
Oh, now we got you.
Oh, there you're back. You're back.
Are you back? And can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear
we
you
can
now.
hear you.
I don't know why that's happening. Maybe
Penny, make her stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, Penny, for gosh sake.
Hey, we've been blaming our technical difficulties this week on
We always
alien
blame
abduction.
Sue over here in the office.
There we go. It's my fault. I'll take the blame.
Well, I'll tell you, she's such a nice little dog, and but she apparently has an ill effect on our computer.
She wants Daddy's attention now.
So we've got what 30 seconds,
yep.
60 seconds before we hit a break. And so would you be willing to hang on and take some calls from our listeners?
I would love to. Thanks, guys.
This is awesome. This is a dream come true for me to be able to interview you and have you on WRMN. And I just am so thankful for the opportunity that Dino and Sonar gave me to kind of fill in alongside Susie C. for Marky B, who's out on vacation in the fun in the sun.
This is absolutely wonderful. This is sit on the screen directly next to you at the same time.
Skilling.
The Tom friggin' Skilling, as Pat Thomas
The honor is mine. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Hey, for those, again, make sure you call in 847-931-1410 when we come back from the bottom of the hour. 847-931-1410. Let's show some Tom some love.
Weather questions.
Text in 505-926-1410 or join us on YouTube. We see a lot of people in YouTube that are absolutely saying hi and wishing you a great morning there, Tom. More WRMN Morning Show coming up after this.
Guys.
With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Sky Rizzy. The Naperville Police Department joining forces with the Illinois Department of Transportation and over 200 local law enforcement agencies to combat distracted driving throughout April. The initiative, aligned with Distracted Drivers Awareness Month, emphasizes the dangers of using phones while driving, which is both hazardous and illegal unless in hands-free mode. The EPA has begun a $500,000 operation to remove radium-contaminated soil from the former site of Silbert Watch Company in Elgin. The watch company, known for using radium-based paint, operated from 1954 to 1971, leaving hazardous residues. The cleanup is expected to be concluded by early summer. Elgin Township will host its annual town meeting on Tuesday, April 8th at 7 p.m., located at the Elgin Township Building, 729 South McLean Boulevard. The agenda includes the supervisor's annual report, the treasurer's annual report, and reports from elected officials, as well as discussions on surplus property. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology.
See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Let me tell you a story about Bill. Bill was a normal guy in his 50s. He had back surgery about 2 years ago. Bill was in a lot of pain. He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain, until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment.
800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. Call right now. Help is standing by. 800-694-1127.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. Flood advisory from this afternoon through tonight in the listening area. Currently, it is 39 degrees with clear skies. Looking ahead to tomorrow, scattered rain showers are expected before 7 a.m., with mostly cloudy skies and a high near 50. Flood advisory from late Friday into Saturday in the area. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Still here, still talking, still way too awake for this hour. It's the WRMN Morning Show. Let's go.
Welcome back to the WRMN Morning Show with Dennis Sonar Green. We've also got Dean DeLaley. We've got Mayor Mike. We've got Sue. And who else do we have on with us today, Sue?
We have Tom Skilling. I can't say it enough. I've had countdowns, 2 sleeps till Skilling. We sing it. Today was a no sleeps till Skilling. Sorry about that, but I had to share. So welcome back.
Oh, well, that's so sweet. It's nice to be with you guys. Thank you for having me. This is fun. It really is.
We've opened up the phone lines as well. 847-931-1410. 847-931-1410 is the place to go over there. But, Tom, there are so many fantastic people that wanted to say good morning to you. We've got awesome. Pat says hi. Schomburg Hockey League has jumped in. Sandy, Joe, Cheryl, Linda, Connie, all people that remember you and have been watching you for years and years.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I think we lost your audio again.
Oh,
If you
Penny.
refresh it.
He hasn't thrown anything at his screen yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Did that come back?
Oh, you're back.
coming back, and
You're
there's your
good.
video.
There you are.
You're good
You're
to
good.
go.
Oh, we figured out how to fix it. I don't know why that's happening, but at least let me know when it fails because I can fix it quickly here. I see.
Will do.
Okay.
All right. But hi to everybody, and thanks for the nice comments. And thanks for joining us. It's so great.
Okay, let's go to our first caller here. Called a few times. We wanted to make sure we got him in there. Is our very own David Tees.
Hi, David.
Good morning, Tom. How you doing, Tom?
How are you?
Oh, great. I've always watched you on the weather, WGN.
Oh, nice.
You were one of the best out there. You are the best out there.
How nice.
Sue said,
Thank
you're
you.
the guy that invented weather.
That's what I've been saying for 2 weeks. Tom Skilling invented the weather.
Oh, gosh. You don't know how much that means. It's always been a labor of love, but thank you for watching. That's so nice of you. And thanks for the nice words, the kind words.
I have one quick question, and then I'll let everybody else call in. With the tornado season upon us now, does Lake Michigan have an effect towards tornadoes when we got the cold fronts and the storms coming from the west or the northwest, and then it's cooler by the lake but hotter out here? Does the lake seem to lower the risk of tornadoes? Because we never really see them in the suburbs, like towards Chicago.
You know what? We've got to be careful about that, Dave. If you tell everybody the lake is always a deterrent to a tornado, you mislead to some extent. There's no question. Tornadoes develop when air is drawn up into a thunderstorm cloud with great force. The jet streams involved in that, and also the warmth and humidity leads to a buoyancy that causes it to rise. And when the air is sucked up into a thunderstorm cloud, you'll get a rotation to develop, and the tornado develops. What the lake does on occasion is the cold air over the lake, if it's drawn into a thunderstorm, will cut down on the buoyancy of the air, and therefore it can diminish some tornadoes. But the problem is there are forces at work that are drawing the air aloft that are not needed all the time.
No, lost your audio again.
Uh-oh.
Okay. We figured out how to fix it, and that's all that matters.
Oh, we still don't have it yet.
We lost your audio again. I'm sorry.
While we're waiting for our Mayor Mike, I just got off the phone with Mayor Skillman. He's putting together a better vacation package for me.
Oh, yeah, well, good. Let him have it. Skillman's a cooler guy than me anyway.
Tom, we lost your audio.
I think we're going to have to call him on the regular old cell phone, I think.
All right, you guys. You guys have a good day. And good show today. Very good show.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Is that back?
Oh, look at that. You're back.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
All right. Isn't that? I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's
okay.
no
We're
problem
good.
at all. Live broadcasting, right, sir?
No.
Absolutely. We are not robots.
Yeah.
We are live.
Right.
And technology on top of it. There's, boy, technology is marvelous, but it can sure throw a wrench into the works, can't it?
It can.
Right.
So you were saying about the cutoff that was there at the lake.
If a storm draws cold air in off the lake, that can decrease the buoyancy of the air that contributes to the spin of a tornado. But that doesn't always happen. So you can't presume that all thunderstorms, even when they try to pull air off the lake, will kill a tornado within those storms. And the fact is, if you look at the tracks of tornadoes, there have been many tornadoes that have crossed Chicago, gone right out over the lake. So we know that tornadoes can happen. Do you know the Oak Lawn Belvedere tornado outbreak back in 1967? That Oak Lawn tornado that killed 55 people went from Oak Lawn across the Dan Ryan Expressway in rush hour and the south side of Chicago, and it went a mile out over the lake east of the Science and Industry Museum on the south side. Living proof that tornadoes can and do happen in Chicago. I live on the north side of the city, right up the block from me at Loyola University. We had a tornado touchdown a couple, 5-10 years ago, right on the shoreline.
Oh, wow.
So they can happen. The lake doesn't always prevent them.
Okay, we got another caller here, Tom. Go ahead,
Yes.
Rita.
Hi, it's nice
Hi, Rita.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Watched you through the years as well.
Oh, nice.
My question. my question is, with Trump cutting these funds for the weather station, will that not make airplane flying more hazardous?
No,
I think we lost your audio
you again. Soon enough, he's going to throw stuff at his computer, because that's what I would be doing. Oh, not yet. Close.
Try one more time.
One
Tom.
more time.
Who, me?
No.
No, Mr. Skilling.
Mr. Skilling's having some trouble with the audio.
I feel so bad making him.
Oh,
You're
there
back.
you are.
Hey,
There you are.
2 times the charm. That's okay.
Rita, your question is a good one. And say it again, Rita. Tell me again what you asked. I'm sorry.
That's okay. With Trump cutting the sources for
budget,
the weather information, will this not be more hazardous in flying for all people?
Do you know the reason we take weather observations at airports is because pilots need continuous information. And do you know, we interviewed a 37-year United Airlines veteran and asked him about how they brief themselves on weather and all. Weather information is critical. The computer models that predict our weather predict upper winds that they use to route their flights and all. So they either avoid jet streams or thunderstorms or turbulence as much as possible. You want this information flow to continue, and if you're cutting staff, you can affect that. That's why we want to maintain the staff we've got. It's pretty thin as it is, but we don't want it to get any thinner.
But then why are we not broadcasting that to make people realize that their lives are going to be in more danger?
Well, Rita, that's why we invited Mr. Skilling to come on with us today, because we feel like it needs the attention.
Absolutely. And Rita, we spent 3 weeks producing a piece we aired Tuesday night. I spoke yesterday on that very subject to the City Club here in Chicago. Day before, I was at the Climate Action Museum. We've done podcasts with my WGN radio colleagues. I interviewed with the Chicago Tribune and talked about this. I also did a podcast with the Environmental Law and Policy Center. And I'm trying to get the message out on every medium I can. And that's why I'm so thrilled to be with you today here on WRMN. I think it's absolutely critical that we talk about this and tell the public, because the public is busy with their lives and they don't know this is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So you raise a good point, Rita. Absolutely.
So much for retirement, huh, Tom?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for the call, Rita.
And we'll certainly keep that communication moving forward, Mr. Skilling, on all of this.
Thank you.
And we'll try and stay in touch with you through Mike to make sure that you can give us any updates that we can share with our listeners.
You're wonderful. This is a real public service. Thank you.
You heard that he said I was wonderful.
He did say you were wonderful. He did. He said I was sweet.
Yeah,
I mean it.
Before we go to the next caller, I want to get Mr. Skilling's answer for the Susie Q of the day.
Yeah, so every day I do a Susie Q of the day, and they're usually kind of related to what. And today was kind of a simple one. My Q of the day was, what is your favorite season and why?
Boy, that's a good one. You know, Susie, this will sound like a cop-out. I love every season. I think there's something fascinating about the weather every season. You know, in retirement, I've been traveling between here and I go out to Hawaii. And
yeah, we heard you got a little place out there.
I do. And I went up to Alaska in the first time because I wanted to see what the weather was like up at that latitude. I went up in 1980. I kind of thought I might eventually retire there. But I like Chicago, and I started going out to Hawaii 15 years ago. If you told me I'd be going to Hawaii, I would have said you were crazy. I had no interest in doing it. But, you know, I've been going out there, and it's so interesting. They've got these microclimates. And gosh, I was out watching the whales migrating and snorkeling. And some guy, the guy who guided us on this, handed me an octopus. And he had a little camera, one of these GoPro cameras that he was shooting underwater. So I bought a GoPro camera, and I'm going out tomorrow, and I'm going to be out there for about a month and a half, and then I come back in June. There's a big climate conference here that I've been asked to be involved in, and so I'm coming back for that. But I'll tell you, it's been an interesting retirement, and what's fun about it is I work with WGN, and I'm able to do projects. One of them is the report we just did on the NOAA budget cuts, but we did one with United Airlines. We did one out at Argonne. You know, we were talking about Argonne. They put a computer out there. It's called the Aurora computer. It's the fastest supercomputer in the world. This thing does 2.5 billion mathematical operations a second.
Whoa.
And to give you an idea what that means, if you gave every human being in the world a computer and assumed they knew how to work it and told them, go to work, in 4 years, every human in the world armed with a computer would do the number of calculations that this Argonne Aurora computer does in 1 second.
Holy cow.
What they're going to do with that, they're going to map the human brain for the first time. They're going to try and figure out how cancer spreads through the body and other diseases. They're going to work on new medicines, new materials for better batteries, artificial intelligence weather computer models that are showing great promise in forecasting the weather. And they will become part of our arsenal of weather forecast tools in the years ahead. This is an amazing machine.
It sure
and it
is.
all starts with that data. You have to collect that data.
Yes, it took 6 years to build that. It's in a 10,000 square foot building over there in Lamont. And they use 40,000 gallons of water, recycled water, a day to cool the computer. Because these computers
Yeah, these data centers are pretty impactful in general, and they don't require a lot of municipal services. So put on your mayor hat for just a second. The city of Minooka right now, who is just approved a data center, and they're struggling with getting infrastructure there to get the power and then the water and that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, it's a pretty interesting thing.
Yeah. Facebook has a huge one in DeKalb.
Yep, that's absolutely true.
But these computers are only as good as the information that gets imported. And I remember when you did that special with you and you had Sean Lewis helping you, how you color code everything, how long it takes you just to give the regular weather report for the day. What you go through. That, I remember watching all those models. Do you have that right there?
I think I've got, look at this. That's funny you mentioned, I forgot about that. When I was doing the night weather, this is, I don't know whether you can see this or not, but see all those numbers?
Yeah, that's what you had on, right.
This is, I used to every day, I pulled down, these are all temperature forecasts, and 40 different computer models. And you know, we found out when we were trying to figure out why weather forecasts are inaccurate, one of the things we found out was we don't perfectly measure the atmosphere. So it turns out we have about 6.3 billion observations a day that go into these computer models. But if you reinterpret this data set slightly differently, in other words, if I have a weather observation here and one right here, you have to tell the computer what's going on in between the two of them. And there are different ways to do that. And so we found out if we could, do it in 30 or 40 different ways and then run all the computer physics and all and figure out what the atmosphere is going to do, you get different forecasts, slightly different forecasts. And when you average all the different forecasts by reinterpreting the initial data, you wind up with a better accuracy forecast. That's called ensembling. And so at any rate,
I feel like I'm back in
school.
school.
I was doing. This is what
I love this.
I'm folding my hands, sitting.
Homemade ensemble. And it's amazing. Each one of these numbers is a different computer model's temperature calculation at a different distance in time into the future. And I found if you average across all these models, and then you take the average number and you look at what the actual temperature wound up being, you'll find there's an error that sometimes occurs, and then you can correct for that error. And that's how we arrived at, the forecast out to 10, 15 days in advance.
Mr. Skilling, did they have to build that computer because you were retiring?
That had to be what it was.
No, I'll tell you, those scientists out there are brilliant. I mean, these are gems in our country's scientific crown. Do you know that the COVID vaccine that was developed in 10 months? And do you know they used a supercomputer at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which is much like the facility at Argonne or Fermilab. These are centers funded by the government with all kinds of scientists doing all kinds of research. And they had these incredible computers to help them. And the COVID vaccine was developed in 10 months using a supercomputer that could scan through viruses and figure out which medicines and chemicals might deter the virus from causing the disease. That process, without the computer, might have taken 10 years, 10 months.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 10 years. I was
versus 10 months.
They did it in 10 months.
We've got about 5 minutes left here. And so I just want to say I really appreciate you coming in. I really appreciate the chance to speak with you.
This is fun.
Now, I know Susie C has a question that she wants to ask.
I have one more. I know we talked about the straight line. What exactly is an F0 tornado? To me, zero means nothing. So I'm just kind of like, what is an F0?
An F0 has winds that might be in the range of 50 to like 85 miles per hour.
Oh, okay.
And you know, the F stands for Fujita, which is the name of the University of Chicago scientist who developed the scale. And it was interesting. The Fujita scale goes from 0 up to Mach 1. And there are 10 actual levels of the Fujita scale. But in nature, we only get F5s. It's the top intensity tornado, and that's
thankfully
320 miles per hour.
Wow.
So an F0 is the bottom scale. That's enough to rip shingles off trees, to take down some power lines, or strip trees of leaves and not branches.
Would that be the same as a microburst, or is that something separate?
See, a microburst. Tornadoes form when air is sucked up into the cloud and begins to rotate. Microbursts occur when the air falls out of the cloud and hits the ground and sprays out in all directions. And both of them can produce terrible damage. Oftentimes it's an academic point of whether a tornado or a microburst. The winds, straight line winds with a tornado can roar, with a thunderstorm can roar just like a tornado does, like a freight train. I don't think a lot of people realize that. They think only tornadoes roar like freight trains.
Yeah.
So thunderstorm gusts can do that too.
We have about 2 minutes here, and I have a question. I was wondering if you'd indulge us.
Sure.
Would you be willing to say, "Hi, this is Tom Skilling, and I love listening to the WRMN morning show"?
Oh, I would love to do that. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom Skilling. And I love listening to the WRMN morning show.
Yes,
there he is. That's our guy.
I think I messed that up. Can you do it one more time, and I won't talk over.
Let's get a count. Let's get a count, Mayor. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sure.
And 3, 2.
Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom Skilling, and I love listening to the WRMN morning show.
All right. Thank you so much.
Be any more better.
Thank you.
So I'm just thinking, if we can't get you in studio and you're going to be in Hawaii, maybe we should go out to Hawaii and run the morning show from your front porch.
Oh, let's do that.
I have my computer out there. I do live shots from on my computer and Zoom shots from there.
Like some fancy Hawaiian drinks.
I think if Penny stays home and she's not tugging at the wires, we're in.
Guys, get the boss to fund a flight out there, and you're welcome anytime.
Did you hear that? You're talking to the boss right here.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're in, Tom.
Right.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
From all of us here at
Thank you for your
WRMN,
time.
God bless you for being on the show. Mike, thank you for bringing the connection together. Susie, this is your dream come true.
Tom freaking Skilling, he called me sweet.
What do you think,
and
Dennis?
We're excited.
It's been amazing. Thank you, Mr. Skilling.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mayor Mike.
This is only second to touring the WGN studios.
WRMN Morning Show continues with Fridays with the Finest with Chief Lally.
What a day.
We are still live on YouTube. So if you want to say anything to YouTube at all there, Mr. Skilling, thank you very much for being here with us.
Guys, isn't it amazing the technology we have? I mean, it gives us headaches at times, but I mean, it is amazing. And to everybody watching on YouTube, Thank you. What a pleasure. And guys, it was just great. I love the fact we can talk and see each other.
It's amazing. Yeah.